Michelle, um, in facing your fears, there's always that moment before you dive in. Is there something that you learned about yourself in engaging the fears that you didn't know as it began?
So I've always been really avoiding my fears as I was telling it. And what this caused is that I was not really feeling my life while I was in it. And that's a phrase that I really like from Meryl Streep. It says, I want to feel my life while I'm in it. And by avoiding so many fears, I was not really feeling the moment. And when I started to experience fear for the first time, when I really decided to do this project, then I was completely open to feel my life while I'm in it. I was actually happy that I was feeling fear because I was feeling a feeling. Like fear is one of your feelings, one of your six emotions. And to be able to not block it like I've always done before, but truly experience it, it was really magical. And at that moment, I was like, yes, I'm really scared. Like, even before I talk here, I was terrified. But instead of blocking the feeling and trying to make myself feel another thing, I was like, no, I actually like to experience this. I'm feeling something. And I feel alive when I feel fear in the best way possible because this is not fear that you want to avoid. This is fear that you're committed to face. And that's even a bigger feeling that you want to experience.
Follow up, is there any fears that have come up since that you're looking forward to addressing?
In the future, yes, I have my whole life that ahead of me, and I have so many fears. And what I'm doing right now is that I'm going back and thinking about all of those things that I once said I wouldn't do. I have a huge list of things that I say I'm never traveling this place, I'm never touching this animal, I'm never doing this, I'm never trying this. And now I'm writing them all down, and I'm really excited to make them happen.
I'm so sorry, I'm terrible with names, but to both the ladies on the stage, I see a strong correlation between fear and also efficacy with time. So, being in the creative industry, I think we all know that kind of immediacy of trying to be efficient and useful with our time. What tools do both of you kind of use to determine what should be a priority for your time? Like how do you map out with your fear of missing out? Do you have 100 things that you have to do? And then for time management, how do you make it more about efficacy and less about efficiency so that you're actually savoring the moment when you're doing those things?
Well, for me, my tool is one question that I ask myself. It is, if not now, when? So that's one question that I like to ask before I do all of my fears. And if there's a better moment to do some of them, then those have less priority than the ones that I say, this is the moment. Like right now, for example, I'm married and I'm looking to have children in the near future. So all of the fears that I want to do before having kids, I need to do them in the next year. So that's my priority.
I would say the tools that I use mostly are quotas and estimates, which might seem like super businessy, but I feel like not enough people use those for their actual life. And so a lot of times when I talk to people about not being able to reach their goals, they tell me that they don't have enough time. But then when I ask them how much time they would need, they have no clue. So it's like, oh, I really want to write a book. And I'm like, great. So how much time do you think that will take you? And they're like, I don't know. How much time will that take me? And that's individual to every single person. So I feel like establishing realistic estimates of what you want to do and then looking at it from a quota perspective of like, I will only spend this many hours this week watching Netflix and the rest of my life will be my life. And things like that become really helpful.
Hi, thank you very much for very profound talks, all three of you. It was great. This is my first time here. This is a great event. Thank you. My question for all three of you is, now that you've had these life experiences, how do you define time? What would be your definition of time?
Whoa. No pressure. I would say Time is the material that allows us to do anything.
I'd say time is a gift that God gives us, and we have to really, really take advantage of this gift as better as we can, not waste time.
Yeah, similar answer. I like think of it as a container. You get to choose what you pour into it, but once it's full, it's just gonna, you can't pour anything else into it. So you got to be careful where you spend it.
Hi, this is a question for Abby. As you were showing your time usage charts, I sat here wondering, and I have a follow-up question to this, how much time you spent tracking your time?
I know the answer to that.
I imagined you would.
So on average, I spend less than 10 minutes a day, which comes out to a very, very small percentage that I can't do the math off the top of my head. But yeah, less than 10 minutes a day. And I've been asked the question before, is spending all of that time logging your time worth your time, which is sort of like, woo. And I decided yes, because it's made me just so much more thoughtful. Like it's kind of impossible to be asked every half an hour, what did you just do? And then not be more thoughtful about how you use the next half hour. So I've experimented with, more automatic tracking of time and like systems that would do it for me. And I really find that the hand done nature of it makes me more thoughtful. So that 10 minutes is really useful to my everyday life.
You just answered my follow-up question. So,
Sweet.
thanks.
I have a very simple question. How much time do you spend sleeping? Or how many hours do you get?
Yeah, 8 to 9 hours a night.
Woo! Okay, so I've been not really sleeping very good because every day I need to face a different fear, so I spend the whole night thinking about it. Last night I barely slept like 5 minutes. Yeah.
7.5, something like that.
I have a question for Michael. As we're all gathering for holidays, do you have any advice for us for adding quality to time with people that maybe are also running out of time, like your grandmother? And I mean, I don't have a skill to make a casket, but any thoughts on how we can add some quality to our time together?
Oh. I don't know. I mean, I think the challenge there is sometimes trying to find a common ground, that was made easy for my situation because we always had our special little thing to talk about, at least to start the conversation. But I guess it's finding common ground is the trick. And I think delicately steering away from a negative talk. I feel like in my experience, like my grandmother's mother, who just passed away last year, it's hard when you're at that age and you have so many medical issues. That's all that's on your mind all the time. And so that's what you end up talking about a lot. I found asking about a specific question about their past, some moment, to just take their mind in a different direction, away from today, that's hard, back to yesterday, that was a more positive memory, is a nice trick.
This is also for Michael. Thank you for sharing your story. I was wondering, since this experience, if other family members have maybe asked you to perform a similar task, if you feel like you could do that again, if someone were to ask you if you have the emotional strength.
Yes, it's an honor. It's a terrible honor. My dad gives a lot of eulogies, and he's not a pastor or preacher or anything, but he has the unfortunate blessing or gifts. He's always being asked to give eulogies, and I've always admired that. He's the kind of person that is asked to do that. And if this is my thing, so be it. It was such a special experience. I think, if it wasn't someone close to me, it would turn into something different. But yeah, I would do it again. And I've been asked, by a couple of friends and one high school friend that I hadn't seen since high school or spoken to, and I made an urn for him this past year because he saw the story about making the casket. And so, case by case, I don't know that I want to start a casket making company, or maybe I do, and maybe there's a concept in there that I could get into on a day-to-day basis. But I would do it again. But both my parents are being cremated, so I don't have to make one for my parents, thank God.
Give a round of applause for these fantastic speakers this month.